breeding site for vectors. The normal life of the people will get disturbed because of the floods. That is the effects of floods. And then droughts. Droughts is a period of time in an area where area or region where experiences below normal precipitation or less than low lack of adequate precipitation or lack low precipitation, that is low or no rainfall, can cause drought condition. And drought condition can be understood or identified when we look into the climatic factors of climatic or weather factors, the factors which describe climate or weather in a particular area, like wind velocity, wind speed, wind direction, humidity, sunlight, rainfall, cloud cover, all these, solar radiation, all these are meteorological factors, that is the factors which describe weather or a climate in a particular area. And when there is no water in these factors, that is humidity, rainfall, clouds, they're not there in an area, then that land or that area is going to get droughted. That's the first symptom of drought or first stage of the drought, which is called as meteorological drought. And in the second stage, the surface water bodies and soil moisture will be lost or exhausted, and then the plants and agricultural crops will get affected, they will die, which is called as agricultural drought. And in third stage, the groundwater will also get depleted and all the people and animals go away and the trees will die. So there is no water in any form because biological cell is not there. Groundwater, surface water, soil moisture, air, atmospheric water, nothing, no way water is available in that area. It is called as hydrological drought. That means drought in hydrological cycle. So meteorological drought means lack of water in atmosphere. Agriculture means lack of water in the soil and surface water bodies, and death of plants and crops occur. And hydrological drought means water is not available in any form in that particular area, is called as hydrological cycle. Then we discussed one more topic called as conflicts over water. Conflicts over water means the disputes in our country. We can see people fighting for the water, right? When the water is in the small quantity, it is not surplus, it is limited amount, and demand of the people is more, and need of water, then there will be a quarrel or fight for the water, which is called as conflict over water, like Godavari water dispute, Kaveri water disputes, Krishna water disputes, not only in the states, in between the states, but also between the countries, like Indus River Valley, river water dispute between India and Pakistan, right? Then we have defined what is dam. Dam is nothing but, can anyone define it now once again? Yes? Students, my dear students, can you define what is dam?
A dam is a
Barrier
bridge.
to restrict water flow.
Right, it's a restriction of flow of water, right? Is it? Yeah, dam, right. It's a restriction of flow of water is called as a dam. So why? Okay, right. That is dam. So that wall which is constructed to obstruct the flow of water is called as a dam wall. At one side, there will be water stored in the reservoir, which is called as artificial impoundment or artificial lake, from where the water will come. That area is called as upstream area, and other side of that wall will be a spillway, and on the top there are floodgates, right? And water will be allowed from the floodgates to fall through the spillway, and it goes to the low-lying areas, down areas, which are called as downstream, right? Upstream and downstream. That is a dam. Now, today we will discuss about the benefits and problems due to dams, right? What are the benefits and what are the problems? Do we have any benefit of the dam? Maybe yes. That is why people, construct so intensified the construction or a huge construction, spending a lot of money, right? So, can anyone say a couple of benefits of the dam? Yes, students, it's a general question.
That's due to heavy rain.
Be louder.
It opposes like due caused by heavy rain, sir.
Right. It opposes floods, right? Okay. It opposes floods caused due to heavy rain. So flood control can occur. It can be a benefit of dam flood control technique. Then, Inka, that's it.
Villages near that dam can be benefited by agriculture, sir. They can
Right, my dear. Villages, or we can say simply agricultural benefit, irrigation purpose, water can be supplied. Why agriculture? How? What benefit? Water
like
supply.
when gates are
Water,
open, they can harvest three crops or four crops, sir, per day.
right. Nearly 3 to 4 crops they can get when the continuous supply of water. So, what is the source? Supply of water? Reservoir. So, storage of water is the primary important thing. Only farmers will get benefited from this water, even
No, sir.
domestic people,
Even
right?
government, sir, they can generate electricity.
Right, electricity power, hydropower generation is one more benefit, right? Who is this answering? May I know your good name?
Sai Kumar, sir.
Sai Kumar. Well done, my dear. Well done. Very good answers. Right. Keep on. Go ahead. So, hydropower, water storage, agriculture, ఇంకా
డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్ కూడా ఉన్నాయి కదా సార్.
డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్ తర్వాత చూద్దాం. ఇప్పుడైతే ఫస్ట్ అడ్వాంటేజెస్ చూద్దాం. సరేనా? నువ్వు అప్పుడు చెప్పు మరి. సరే.
Fishing.
ఫిషింగ్, రైట్. అక్వాకల్చర్ ఆర్ ఫిషింగ్ ఆర్ ఫిషరీస్. ఇంకా ఏం అడ్వాంటేజెస్ ఆలోచించండి, తర్వాత డిసడ్వాంటేజెస్. ఫస్ట్ గుడ్నెస్, right? So flood control. Then when water is stored, the water can be used for agriculture, domestic, and even industrial purpose. Flood control increases when water is stored in a particular area, their groundwater table will increase. Then the greenery will develop and ecological balance will occur, right? Then economy, it brings a lot of economy to that particular area. Employment will be done, right? And recreation will be there, educational visit will be there, navigation will be there, right? So we have plenty fishy culture, so on and so forth. Plenty of benefits will be there. We will see each one in detail. The first one is, yeah, storage of water, hydropower generation, food production, flood control, increase of water table, ecological balance, inland navigation, educational tour, recreation, employment, aquariums, right? These are all the benefits. Now we will discuss each one in detail. First is water storage. As your friend Saikuma said, we can store huge amount of water by constructing a dam. The first foremost benefit in the ante we discussed in use and overutilization of surface and groundwater. In our country, people always find the scarcity of water. Manaki Hyderabad lo we are getting tap water alternative day. Why government doesn't give daily, and that too small amount of time, and people don't waste the water? Why we are not getting tap water daily? When I was a kid, we used to get daily, that to 2 times, morning and evening. 2 times a day we used to get water in Hyderabad, my dear. After that it became one day daily, one time a day, then alternative days, right? So why? Because of the scarcity. The demand, population is increasing, but the supply remains same. Is it the mistake of rainfall? No, we are getting nearly 4,000 billion cubic meters of rainfall annually in our country, out of which only 1,137 billion cubic meters of water is been stored in surface and groundwater. Remaining 2,800 billion cubic meters of water is getting lost or getting into the ocean. It is not lost, but fresh water is not available. So this is an attempt to store that water. That construction of dams is an attempt to store that water. So how we are storing that water? By constructing the dams, we are storing them in the reservoirs, right? So first and foremost thing is we are able to harvest the rainwater. We are able to harvest rainwater and store it for our usage as a fresh water, right? Second, that stored water will be used for primarily for agriculture purpose, domestic and industrial. If we take in domestic purpose, we can say year round supply of water for domestic, there won't be any scarcity and trouble to the people, citizen of that particular state for water, right? So year round supply of water will be there. Second one, industries, year round supply of water will be there even for industries, so their manufacturing activities will continuously go on, which can bring economy to the company, the state, and even to that particular area, right? And even the infrastructure can be improved whenever water is needed for any activity like commercial constructions or a government construction. Water is available in plenty, so all the works can go without getting delayed, just waiting for the water, right? So domestic, industrial, and commercial activities can go on. So development activities will be very quick. Then the last and beautiful one is agriculture. The water supplied for agriculture through minor and major irrigation canals, and the lakhs of acres of land will get into the uh, farming, agricultural practices and cultivation. And not only, I mean, two crops, Rabi and Kharif, even we can get three to four crops per year, and that can bring good amount. We have multiple benefits, like once we get the total crop four times a year, we will get the food production yield. Food production will be more, the food will be more, so all the people can affordably get the food, because it will be less cost while it is available abundantly. Then once we meet the need of the state people food need, excess amount, surplus amount can be exported and it can get the benefit to the state economy will be improved, right? And the cost of the product will also be less because it is available in good quantity, right? And second thing is, while the cultivation agricultural practice, all that land area will be converted into a green carpet, the greenery will grow, right? We will get the benefit of food yield, right? But also indirect benefits like carbon, decrease in the carbon footprints, that is they generate good amount of oxygen and take CO2, right? So that is also one of the benefit we can get. And one more benefit is, people who are living in that area will involve in the agricultural practices, so they have plenty of work in their hand. They are, I mean, employed, self or I mean employed anyway, right? So employment problem will also be partially solved. So these are the benefits what we get from the stored water in the reservoir, right? Next one is hydropower. How hydropower is generated? Right. When the water is stored in the height, at a particular height, will possess potential energy, and while that water falling from the spillway, that energy is getting converted into kinetic energy. And when that water falls on the turbines, right, that turbines will start moving, rotating, and that kinetic energy is converted into mechanical, and finally the mechanical energy is converted into electrical energy, right? So that is how, yes, we can generate good amount of hydropower by the dams. How much amount of energy is generated in our country through hydropower? It is 27% of the country's energy comes from hydropower, and 70% comes from thermal power plant, and 3% from nuclear, solar, wind, and other and renewable energy resources, right? So why we are going with 70% of thermal? Because it is good? No, absolutely bad, because it needs coal, right? And we will be losing coal endowments for this. I mean, coal gets depleted when we are using 70% of energy generation through thermal power plant. And not only the depletion of coal, but also it causes release of pollutants like carbon monoxide, sulfur oxide, oxides of nitrogen, A lot of these pollutants will be released when coal is burnt. So environment is getting polluted, coal is getting depleted, right? Even partially water pollution do also occur in that, right? So why we are, I mean, causing pollution and we are going with the same 70%, whereas hydropower is a clean. Is it clean, surely? What will be the impact on water quality when we generate energy by hydropower? Students, will there be any change?
No,
Bad or
sir.
good? No, there won't be. Beautiful answer, my dear. There won't be any change. Why? Because we are, it is not, that is why I said it is potential energy converted to kinetic, mechanical, and electrical. It is not the mineral content of the water. So, no, quality of the water will never change, will never change. Only it is the sheer force, strength of the water, quantity wise, that is used to generate electricity. So there won't be any change in the quality. And once we generate electricity in this dam, again in the downstream, if there is a dam, energy can be generated, right? So why people are, I mean, why in our country only 27% of energy comes through hydropower? Why? Because of, first thing is efficiency is little bit low in the generation of hydropower energy, electric power, and then the number of dams in our country are less, and the year round working of the dams or power generation is not there, and then power generated cannot be stored, it has to be continuously supplied, right? And whenever the dam constructions occur in our country, there is a problem of conflict over the dams, right? The conflict will be there, and the dams will not be completed, and they'll get a stay from the court for any political or a bureaucratic or local or regional reasons, right? So in that way, that amount of energy generated through dams is very less, and we need to work on this and improve the efficiency and number of dams, and even the storage of water can be done, and even power generation, because it is a clean energy. It won't harm the environment, or it won't cause any impact on the water, adverse impact on the water, right? So that is hydropower generation. Next one is food production. Absolutely, we said when there is a good amount of stored water and multiple crops can be developed, and that generates good amount of yield and food production of the country or state, or that local area will be there, right? So that improves. And then flood control, right? When water is flowing on the ground or in the river, a huge quantity due to heavy rainfall, right? Uncontrolled overflow of water occurs in that particular area. It can cause floods in that area. So these floods can be controlled by construction of a dam. When water touches the dam area, if they get stored over there, and the velocity of water, velocity velocity of water will be reduced, and that decreases the intensity of flooding. And the flood control technique is what we say occurs because of the obstruction of a high flowing water due to dam construction or a dam wall construction, right? Then increase of water table, increase of groundwater table. What is groundwater table? When we bore a hole into the ground, with what level we find the water? In some places you can find the water at 10 to 20 feet, somewhere 40, 30, 80. Some places more deep, people has to go even more than 100 feet and you don't find water. That means there the groundwater table is very low. It's a bad thing, right? So it should be very high. And this is what occurs when water is stored in the reservoir, the nearby areas, the seepage and percolation of the water occurs. The water goes through the ground towards this far distance, and the groundwater will be filled and the groundwater table will be high. So once the groundwater table is high in that area, people can get benefited, not directly getting water from the reservoir. Even they can get the water through the ground by bore wells, right? And get benefited. And that is one thing. And when the groundwater is more, the soil moisture will be very good in that surrounding of the reservoir area. When the soil moisture is in good condition, very good, so it helps the plants and trees to grow very well. And we can see there the surrounding reservoir areas, all they are heavily grown with the plants and trees, right? A good flourishing of the trees will be there, a lot of greenery will be there, naturally grown. And that flourishing greenery will attract the birds and other animals, and that becomes a very good habitat. And there will be a very good ecological balance developed over there, which will be a very good scenic beauty. Aesthetically, it will be very good, right? So ecological balance will also develop. And then the inland navigation, right? Inland navigation means the reservoir which is connecting the surrounding areas like villages. People can travel on the water, right, using a means of water transport, and that can minimize the time, or even the energy reduction, or even the road transportation time can also be reduced. So that is called as inland navigation. And not only that, even the transportation, like a dam wall which is constructed across the river, can act as a bridge, right? A bridge, that is a road on the top, and people can use that for transportation also in that locality, connecting two sides of the river, or two villages, or too many villages on either side of the river, right? Transportation can be possible. And then educational tour, like students of civil, mechanical, production, electrical, can visit these dam sites for their educational studies, improving their technical skills, right? Field work can be done over there. So that definitely provides an educational visit tour, right? And then recreation, I just said, when there is a good groundwater table, the soil moisture will be there, and it will converted into a good greenery and good habitat. And that is aesthetic, right? I mean, people will get attracted towards a very good greenery, recreational, or a water system where boating can also be done. Artificial waterfall, that is when water is released through the floodgates, the spillway where it falls, it appears just like a waterfall. So all these are scenic beauties where people will be attracted to visit that areas in the picnic time, right? And the trekking or any other resort kind of a thing will be there. So that brings a lot of economy to that particular authority of the dam and the state, right? And it is rejuvenating for the people to visit such places, natural environment. And then it generates employment, right? Maintenance, not only maintenance, right, from the construction of the dam. First thing, when the dam construction has to be done, the people are involved, like geologist, zoologist, botanist, environmentalist, civil engineer, mechanical, production, electrical, electronic, right? Many people are involved over there, design, structure, that everything has to be taken care. So those people are involved and employed. And not only those, even the masonry, that is labor, who need to work over there. Huge number of masonry is needed to work for the construction of the dam. And after the construction, even maintenance, pump house, energy generation, electric power generation, right, water maintenance, lot of employments will be definitely will be employed, and skillful employed will be improved over there. So that provides employment. And then aquarium in the sense, these water bodies, right, reservoirs, can be used for cultivation of fish and fisheries. That could be a small idea, but when we consider, like, these reservoirs are highly protected areas. Why? Because dams are very important location for the country, and they are at high risk for the terror attack, right, to disturb the economy. So those areas are always protected. No civilian can visit there unless, proper paperwork has been done. So those areas are highly protected, and they are at regular surveillance, right, the government authorities. So the water lake or a artificial impoundment, right, reservoir is also under the surveillance. So instead of just doing aquaculture fisheries over there, we can conserve the aquatic animals which are naturally unable to survive in their environment, like crocodiles or alligators, gharial, tortoise or dolphins. White dolphins of river Ganges are unable to survive in their natural environment because of river Ganges getting highly polluted. So such kind of a living beings or water aquatic animals can be taken out from their natural environment and can be kept in these reservoirs under the protection of the security system. They can be improved in their population, right? So in such cases we can call these artificial impoundment reservoirs as an aquarium for developing or conserving the aquatic ecosystem, aquatic habitat or aquatic animals, right? So these are the benefits of dams. If you have understood, well and good. If you have any doubts, you can raise. If you have any more points also, you can raise, my dear. Even I will take down and we will discuss so that people will get benefited in the class, or else you can directly write in the exam. Anybody got any doubts? Benefits of dams? ఏనన్నా ఎస్ అన్న నో అన్న చెప్పండి అమ్మా. Right. Thank you, my dear, for answering, responding. Now we will discuss the problems due to dams. Now somebody said, sir, disadvantages కూడా ఉంటాయి కదా అన్నారు. ఆ అబ్బాయి start telling me couple of disadvantages now. At least one అన్న చెప్పాలి నువ్వు. చెప్పు నాన్న. One disadvantage. Okay, what is the first thing needed for the construction of a dam?
Area.
Right, my dear. Is it, any problem or land is available in plenty?
No, sir. People
should be
are
near the
forced to leave their homes.
Right, my dear. People lose their houses if we need to select the land where people are acquired, that land area. So acquiring a land is a problem, first thing. Right? Acquiring a land, selection of the site, then getting the land free from any occupants is also a problem. Then providing rehabilitation to the occupants is also a problem. Right? ఇంకా ఉన్నాయి, చాలా ఉంటాయి ప్రాబ్లమ్స్. ఓకే, ల్యాండ్ వచ్చేసింది, తీసుకున్నాము, పోయి ఆడ డైరెక్ట్గా ల్యాండ్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ చేసేస్తుంటారా? ల్యాండ్ క్లియర్గా ఉంటుందా? నో. మేబీ జనరల్గా ఎక్కడ కడతారు డ్యామ్స్? ఇన్ ద సిటీస్ ఆర్ ఇన్ ద ఫారెస్ట్ ఏరియాస్? రైట్. సో ఫారెస్ట్ అంటే ఏంటి? బ్యారన్ ల్యాండ్ ఉంటుందా? ప్లేన్ ల్యాండ్స్ ఉంటాయా ఫారెస్ట్ లో? వెజిటేషన్ ఉంటుంది. ఎవరో బాగా ఎంజాయ్ చేస్తున్నారు, మ్యూజిక్ పెట్టుకొని క్లాస్ వింటున్నారు. వెరీ గుడ్. సో ఫంక్షన్ లో ఉన్నాడు మనోడు. సో నో, అబ్సల్యూట్లీ రైట్. ఫారెస్ట్ అంటే అక్కడ గ్రీనరీ ఉంటుంది, రైట్? హ్యాబిటాట్ విల్ బి దేర్ అండ్ ఆల్ దట్ హ్యాబిటాట్ హ్యాస్ టు బి రిమూవ్డ్. సో లాస్ ఆఫ్ వెజిటేషన్. లాస్ ఆఫ్ వెజిటేషన్ అనగానే మనకి ఒక చైన్ ఆఫ్ ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ వస్తాయి, అవి డిస్కస్ చేద్దాం. ఇంకా నెక్స్ట్ ఏంది మళ్ళా? ఓకే, అక్వైరింగ్ ల్యాండ్, rehabilitation problem, then deforestation, removing the forest vegetation, loss of vegetation. Okay, loss of vegetation తర్వాత ఇంకా ఏమైనా ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఉంటాయా? స్టోరేజ్ ఆఫ్ వాటర్, వాటర్ stagnation, right? Water logging and salinity problem. Then the loss of nutrients to the downstream, that is the loss of nutrients. అది నేను చెప్తాను ఏందో. వన్స్ ద లాస్ అంటే ఎక్కడ పోతున్నాయి ఆ న్యూట్రియంట్స్? దే ఆర్ స్టోరింగ్ ఇన్ ద రిజర్వాయర్. సిల్టింగ్ అయింది అంటే డిక్రీజ్ ఇన్ ద వాటర్ స్టోరేజ్ కెపాసిటీ. దెన్ ఇంక్రీజ్ ఆఫ్ ద బర్డన్ ఆన్ ద ల్యాండ్ డ్యూ టు వాటర్ స్టోరేజ్, సెడిమెంట్ అండ్ డ్యామ్ కన్స్ట్రక్షన్ కాజెస్ even the earthquake zone, that becomes a earthquake risk zone, and earth rotational movements will also get affected. Then the maintenance problem will arise, right? Then conflict over water, one of the best answer. It is there on the board because there is a normal human control over the flow of water. Conflict over water. Natural functioning of the rivers will be stopped or blocked, and it is disturbed by human activities like control over the flow of water, right? So that's all our problems, right? We will discuss each in detail one by one. Acquiring a land area, large capital investment is required, loss of vegetation, increase of air and other pollution, then loss of nutrients to downstream, causes floods, waterlogging and salinity, silting, breeding site for vectors, and change of earth rotation, earthquake, conflicts over water, aquatic plant growth, maintenance problem, right? All these are problems of due to dams. We will discuss each one in detail. First, acquiring a land area, as we have discussed, I mean, just now. First, we need to identify a very good place suitable for the construction of a dam. ఎందుకు అంటే construction dam is not a small house or a building, right? It's a big wall, right? Huge weight will be there on the land. So once that huge weight develops on the surface of the land, underneath land subsidence may occur, and the land will, I mean, will become land subsidence. Tremors or vibrations will occur over there, and it may lead to earthquakes, and that is what happens. And dam collapse may also occur. So that is why we need to get a good location for the construction of a dam. And one more thing, even after the storage of water, right, once we store the water, the foundation, that bedrock, should not be disturbed. Like liquefaction will also be a problem. Liquefaction and when the water is stored in a bucket of, you say, I mean, you take a bucket of sand, right? You take a bucket of sand and you pour it in a bucket or a vessel, and without any water, the thick sand, it will be a lump. When you start pouring water, that lumps will become loose and they start floating in the water. That means the water enters into the void spaces, gaps of the stones, and they start floating them. And water, as sand also becomes just like water, it starts flowing along with that water. And then the strength and stability of that sand will not be there, and it may fall down or it may settle down, which causes collapse of the dam. That is called as soil liquefaction, right? So that is the problem. For that reason, we need to select a perfect site for the construction of the dam. So naturally it should be a very good site. To get that site selection, we need a well esteemed, well studied geologist, right? Geologist, we can study the rocks and minerals and ores and earth material. So first problem is that one. We need to identify that and solve the problem. And once we identify a good location, then the location may not be a plain land. There may be hills, mountains, right? We need to clear them. So a lot of investment is needed to clear them. And then that land may be acquired by the people, right? If it is a government land, well and good. But if it is acquired by the private people, we need to satisfy them to acquire the land. Okay, if it is normal, well and good, people can be satisfied. But if it is something related to their ancestral property and it is emotionally connected to that people, getting that land will be a difficult task, because they can go into the court and get a stay on the construction, and the construction activity will get delayed. Then there will be a loss in the project, right? So such activities will occur. And once we satisfy them, rehabilitation, those people has to be given some land and other place, right? Okay, well and good. If we give them good place in Banjara Hills, Jubilee Hills, they will be satisfied, right? And other than that, if any tribals are also there in that forest, that could be another problem. The tribal people has to be again rehabilitated. They also should get some land If we provide them in the Jubilee Hills, Banjaras once again, definitely they'll be happily taking care. I mean, that's problem is solved. But once we remove the tribal people from the forest and bring them to other areas in cities, urban areas, or villages, the tribal system, that culture as will be lost permanently. Once the culture, one culture is lost, like their medicinal values or their medical techniques or their livelihood may have some benefits which can be good to the environment and the people, society, we will be losing them permanently. So once a culture is lost, information to the society will be lost, a benefit will be lost to the society. So that tribal's loss is lost to the society, and then livelihood has to be provided. So that is another problem. And okay, humans have been settled, rehabilitated very well. How about the trees and plants which have been cut from that area? The loss of vegetation. Before that, capital investment is needed. Okay, for construction, that could be a minor problem, capital investment. Then loss of vegetation. Directly, it's a big loss to the society. Why? Because we say the forests are lungs of the society అంటాం ఎందుకు? Because they clean the air. Whatever urban areas are generating pollution, that will be cleaned by the forest. So we are directly attacking our lungs and removing the part of a lung, that is forest is been deforested. So that's a direct attack. And then once we remove these trees and plants, right, దే ఆర్ లాస్ట్ పర్మనెంట్లీ. ఒక ట్రీ, ఒక ప్లాంట్ పర్మనెంట్ గా పోతుంది అక్కడి నుంచి. వీఆర్ నాట్ ట్రాన్స్ప్లాంటింగ్ దెమ్, వీఆర్ కటింగ్ డౌన్ దెమ్. దెన్ there will be an impact on the amount of oxygen and CO2 level, that is air pollution, ambient air quality will be affected. Like once we remove the greenery, O2 levels will decrease, CO2 levels will increase, and ambient air quality will change, and pollution is increasing in that area, can lead to global warming and the acid rains are so on and so forth, right? So that is another problem. And then when we are removing these plants, okay, humans can be rehabilitated, but how about the animals, right, which take shelter in those plants in that land area? Those animals can be kept in zoological parks, but we cannot fit all the animals. Some of the animals can run away from that area into the other parts of the wild area or other sections of the forest, and they move in that. While these animals are moving into other parts of the forest or deeper section of the forest, these animals are called as exotic species. That is, they are non-native species. They doesn't belong to that land, but they are moving to that land because of human induced migration. Migration and movement of the animals which occur naturally, but here because of human activity the migration is occurring. So it is called as human induced migration. It brings exotic species into that area. When exotic species enter, the first thing is competition for the survival. The survival of the fittest, and the unfit one will perish, right? So some of the living beings will be lost in that way. So loss of biodiversity occurs. And even the exchange of diseases, the common diseases of these animals and other animals will occur. And that may also kill the sensitive animals, and some of the living beings will die because of that. And once we are removing this, the endemic species will directly get affected. What are endemic species? Anybody can answer this? Okay, no answer, right? So endemic species means the plants and animals which grow in a particular area, environment, right? So which, if they are not available in any area, are called as endemic. Like kangaroos of Australian desert, you take them into any other desert of the world, they will not survive, they will die there. They are only available in Australian deserts, right? Such kind of living beings are called as endemic, like macaw in India, right? Lion tail monkey, right? Nilgiri hill deers, right? Stags. We have plenty of endemic species in our country. So such living beings, if anything is there, or an endemic plant which has got a beautiful medicine, right? if it grows in that area, and if it is been cut down, it will not grow again, and we will lose that plant and medicine also. So loss of biodiversity and loss of benefit from the plants and animals in that way will be lost permanently because of loss of biodiversity. And then loss of fertility. That soil where the dam construction and water storage is being done may be a beautiful fertile land, highly fertile land, but we are not using that land for agriculture. Rather, that fertility will be lost permanently. Wastage, right? We don't use it. And we can use it if we transplant that land area. And then if there are some new minerals, right, minerals ores we embedded within that ground, like coal, bauxite, limestone, quartzite, or any other stones or minerals ores, they are also permanently lost because we are not disturbing that land. We are using it only for storage of water and construction of a dam, right? So in that way, loss of minerals which are present in that land, and then causes increases air pollution. That is, when the construction activity starts, humans and machinery, working of cranes, crushers, and all that, and then cement work, a lot of cement dust will be released. So it generates huge amount of smoke, and pollution causes air pollution. And when the colonies develop because of masonry, the people try to live there, then also people causes water and soil and air pollution, right? Humans. So that is loss to the environment. And then loss of nutrients to the downstream. What is this? In our country, we know that coastal plains are more fertile అనే ఒక saying ఉంటుంది. The Kadiyam, Konasima, the coastal plains are more fertile. There, good amount of plants will grow. Why? Can anyone answer this question, students? Because in our country, rivers flow from north to south, and while the rivers are flowing on the ground, they take all the soil particles, minerals, salts into the water and carry along that river water, and when they merge into the ocean, they deposit at the bottom. That is estuary, end of the river, and that is called as a coastlines or coastal plains, right? And there the land will be more fertile, all the silt will get deposited. So that is a natural phenomena of carrying of nutrients from the high upstream to the downstream, which is getting struck due to the dam construction. That minerals ores, I mean that salts and minerals and silt is getting deposited in the reservoir instead of carrying to the downstream, right? That's a loss of nutrients to the downstream area, one factor. Another problem is, as these minerals, salts, and silt is getting stored in the reservoir, it increases the sediment. That is, the soil bed at the bottom is increasing, decreasing the water storing capacity of the reservoir. And while it is increasing the bed, the silt, the silting of this reservoir is called. That is, the silt will become deposited in the reservoir, which causes decrease in the water storage capacity. And what is this silt is nothing but the nutrients, minerals and salts. And when there is a good amount of minerals and salts in the water, the plants will start growing very well, right? Because good energy is available, plants grow at a faster rate, aquatic plants, and huge amount of plant growth can be seen in that water, which can disturb the main functioning of the dam. Like when they open the floodgates will get clogged or choked with these aquatic plants and can cause disturbance. Or when they fall along the water, they can fall on the turbines and they can cause the problems to the turbine. That is, rotations will get altered, or they get choked or clogged, right? So that is maintenance problem will occur, and mechanically we need to remove these plants regularly, or even the silt has to be removed mechanically. That is, manually people has to remove it using machinery. So that is a maintenance problem. And then, right, uh, loss of nutrients, right? And then the causes of floods, right? How does the dams cause floods? They control the floods and they also cause the flood. That is, when the dams are constructed, if people have not checked or taken good site selection, and after the dam liquefaction or disturbance in the foundation or a weak foundation or a land subsidence over there can cause collapse of the dam, or due to these aquatic plants which can grow even in the cracks, if there are cracks on the wall, and that cracks can be increased because of growth of plants like lichens are a species of plants which can grow in the rock crevices, and that can cause cracks into the dams and disturb or decrease the durability and strength of the dam wall, right? Or even improper execution of the project, or improper material, that is not good quality material is used. All that factors can lead to collapse of a dam, or excess amount of water stored beyond the water storage capacity due to heavy rain can also cause dam break. And whenever dam break occurs, the downstream area will be flooded. It is called flash flood. So that area will be always under threat of a floods. Not only the downstream, even the upstream area will also be threat of backflow of water and causes floods, right? And then waterlogging and salinity. Right, waterlogging and salinity. Waterlogging and ఏంటి? Stagnation of water. When water is stagnated in that area, definitely that could be a problem because soil loses its air and becomes anaerobic, and degradation of the soil quality will occur. When water is logged, it causes breeding site for vectors like mosquitoes and other flies will grow well and can cause health hazard to the people nearby the surroundings. And that when the water, I said salts and minerals will be more, and even in the rainy summer season, when the evaporation of water occurs, more salts concentration will occur, and soil water become more saline. That is, soluble salt concentration of the water increases. So it becomes saline, salt water, and can be slightly polluted or a problematic, because we need to decrease that. And then silting, loss of water storage capacity, we discussed it. Then breeding site for vectors, that is when water is stored stagnated, it serves as a breeding site for vectors. And then change of earth rotation, that is when huge amount of water weight is put on part of a land, and a huge amount of weight due to the construction of a great wall, right? Huge wall occurs, so that exerts a pressure on part of the land, which causes change in the earth rotational movement. Nearly 0.2 microseconds will get decreased when a dam is constructed. That is what people expected, right? And that weight will also exert a pressure on the land, and can land cause land subsidence and can cause earthquakes. So these dam areas are always earthquake prone areas, right? And when the dams are constructed, it controls the flow of water. There will be a human control over the flow of water, and the flow of water to the downstream will be always controlled by authority having on that dam. So there will be conflict between the downstream and upstream people, right? So conflict over water will also be there. Then aquatic plant growth can cause problem. We discussed this, right? Then overall we can say maintenance, all the dam reservoir and functioning of the floodgates and spillway and turbines, pump house, electricity power generation, supply station, all that has to be maintained regularly. So maintenance will be a continuous problem, or continuous monitoring has to be done. So with this we have completed dams benefits and problems. So we still have 3 more minutes. If you have any doubts, you can raise, or else I will take attendance. I will end the session here. If you have any doubts, you can just tell me, or else I will take the attendance. Students, you can start giving your attendance. Roll number 61. If you have any doubts, you can raise, and I have uploaded material I've uploaded material in the Google Classroom, all 9 units. You can check there and you can start preparing for your internal examinations. Maybe in the last week of June, you'll have your internal examinations expected. Right? So you can start giving attendance. Roll number 61 is there. Chapnana, roll number 61. Okay, 62 is absent. Next.
63 present, sir.
Right, next.
64 present, sir.
65 absent.
66 present, sir.
67 present, sir.
68 present, sir.
69 present, sir.
70 present, sir.
71 present, sir.
22 present, sir.
73 absent. 74 absent.
75 present, sir.
Right, next.
76 present, sir.
77 absent.